my ashefo eni Ghana fo nyina ena mene wo ekasei ensem bi ejentre han ewo social media no so Ghana ha nyina eni amahodo so a ya boabo ne nyina no ayede ebremo now nsem na se dia na chese Ghana mampani the first gentleman of the land his excellency John Dramani Mahama ne babema ba kope anidin edi Sharaf Mahama yenyina yehu se efibra ne papa betina so se president no wo bone homodene ye niema nde boxing wo china ne ade nanso it looks like doom to mampani John Dramani Mahama ni fie particularly no edua Sharaf Mahama eso now osofo bi anase meka ne se prophet bi krodwem ha ne nsema wo de abeto dwa no ene se Sharaf Mahama sabrede aka ne brekuma bi wate asefo asase so esanse enipa bonifuo bi ayo mo adwene se wo mo ebe poison Sharaf Mahama nti wo se abrante no wo ma nani eda hot se aboa wo na ensem we trigger a whole lot of issues ayebeka ho asem later nanso ansa na yenkotie osofo yi ne nsem a wo de tudwa efa Sharaf Mahama ene John Dramani Mahama nebusia aseho no eho yeba yebeto aso.
There's a word. Then Mahama ba Berman, they are planning to kill him. Jesus. There's a word. The father say, Sharif, if you are watching me, open one kwame bomb payamount. Show what you need. That's all. May God bless you, Ghana.
Amen.
May God bless everybody.
Amen.
Kennedy.
Yes.
Akon. Brakon. Japan. You will win the battle. Everybody will see. That saith the Lord.
Amen.
That saith the Lord.
Yes.
Among Fremen, them penny for being mela ebehume. If they like it.
Usia Sharaf Mahama and also fue chemu se one shene didie mu ye sanse poisoning bi ebekoso ewo baby a ansha na ya hwere President John Dramani Mahama ne babema Sharaf. Now prophecy way trending and as a video way trending on social media for obvious reasons. This has gotten something to do with Prophet El Bernard. Ne nkomsha wo share ya sebe wo kire se Kennedy akompre kwa Japan be win elections no. And this prophet also said same and I just say amanfo bebre na linking it to the fact say El Bernard de na mbemu and I just say sofo dey so ambemu and the fact that branti and nidin ede ebonowa enso kwake kansem bi say nso betoni ade asase be say aye che no and e bi just say Ghana police e wo say nimanim ya omukwache sofo san say what the fear and panic abagana hanum say how can you come and tell us say President John Dramani Mahama ne babema ne be poison ne de wa abrekwa wo second prophecy a wo ma ye about Kennedy Japan no kra atroka amemu enti de na chese sa prophecy we nyankopon ene yi ma nti ebi no mo chema IGP Christian Yohonu tete e wo se enimanim ya wo ko tebiri sa prophet we san say ya bre any false prophecy ene ehunahuna all in the name of prophecy e wo Ghana krodwem hanum say now mene wo ka say Kevin Taylor and Swababe Kasa de afa NPP for primaries course so over the weekend no na yenyina yenim say Dr. Mahmoud Baumia na emerge as the winner for this particular elections and no na chese wone minority ehia ye wo mrahye bedwafia no ka che omo say omo oda omo sepa say omotimi ato aba ne de ama no na emom also mobo said they will win the elections. They say who say elections now womo elusu year in 2024 no. Niema bakumye nu abaku edi kan pa no. Disunity na wa amanyoko ni moment me ho ase ne mpapa mu ni ade na Kevin Taylor say hey enti abrante Mahama friends emba omia on sha say nka no kure ma ne ho nto no se Ghana na omo say Ghana ninti na Ghana fon so ani da omo ho no ma omo to aba ne ti anana and to think say wogusu ade she party internal fight no and ohun say ba omia 2028 enya de a wo be win elections because abrante no aye na dwene say on ka no kure yenkotie Kevin Taylor enso nsema wode etudwa.
NPP flag bearer Dr. Mahama Bawumia says the party can still win the 2028 elections despite its wide loss in 2024. He told minority MPs that the defeat reflected internal challenges that can be resolved through unity, praising their dedication and pledging to work closely with them to secure victory. And the minority in parliament, Ekosra Bawumia, and Bawumia is still lying. Bawumia is still lying by telling MPP for say, party no, in Kugu Mudia, John Mahama, NDC for winning 57%, Onya 38%, no, because of internal issues. Hey, the guy is still not realistic. Bawumia still does not want to accept reality. And you see, that is what I keep telling MPP for. Leadership does not respect those down there. Bawumia jina a minority for the nim ekachirom say, oh, election a lose and a enya bibia na me lose enya economy. Enya how we treated Ghanaians. Enya DDEP. Enya e-levy. Enya COVID-19 sika ye say no. Enya GDP at the cost ro. Enya inflation grew 54%. Enya dollar picking 3.8 and grew 17. Enya unemployment. Enya NABCO this even call for. Enya del high level of corruption, nepotism. Enya Ekufuado chese or say na enya emubia. The mom lose election here internal. No mankasa eku. God damn it. The guy is delusional. The JM Temu. This is Temu JM Temu. This I want to be JM is delusional. Bawumia is still delusional. He still does not understand what is ahead of him. He is still blaming internal party issues on their defeat. Now, just saying conform Kotuaba in 2024, no, they cared about internal party issues. The people who voted against you, Bawumia, was because you, Bawumia, deceived them. Say you were an economist. So many Ghanaians who voted against the MPP, they voted against MPP not because it was because they saw through you. They realized that you were deceitful. They could not trust your word. They did not have any confidence in you, and they still don't have confidence in you. The reason why Ghana former to me in 2017, it was because before 2016, you went around the nation, symposia and symposium, explaining to Ghanaians why we should give you Ghana's economy. Time now we have symposia and symposium, no, not dollar no 3.8. 90% of Ghanaians believed you. 90% of Ghanaians, we knew Ekufuado was dumb. He has been dumb from day one. Every single person who was around Ekufuado's age knew Ekufuado was a drug addict. They knew Ekufuado was not smart to govern. 90% of people who voted for MPP in 2016 voted for MPP because of you. Because you had told them that you had the touch. And that you were an economist. And that you could change the destiny of this nation when it comes to our economic problems. So 90% of Ghanaians were all chanting Bawumia, Bawumia. That is why you saw a lot of people come to your symposia and symposiums, because they felt you were a new person with new brains, with new kind of ideas. So the winning of the MPP in 2016 was all because of what you told Ghanaians, what was stuck in their heads. Now, at the end of the day, Ghanaians now no more 10 million, 20 million, 100,000 no, at 2024. Now, almost can you say? Through NABCO, because your economic policies will be able to create jobs. Remember, everything is based on economy. If you get the economic indicators wrong, you cannot create jobs. If you get the economic touch wrong, you cannot construct roads. If you get the economic touch wrong, your inflation will go up. When the economy is not stable, it means that hardship will continue. You will not be able to put the country on a stage or a level where people will feel at ease. People will be able to move around, do business, and make profit. So we handed over the economy to you. Majority of the time, I now say, you worked at the Bank of Ghana. You know there's money and that you were going to make sure Ghanaians get it easy. 2024, pensioners are to Obama 2017. Pensioners are to Obama 2020. 90% of Ghana form to Obama MPP 2017-2020. They all knew Akufo-Addo was vegetable. He was dumb and he's foolish. They voted for Akufo-Addo because of you. They were still hoping you are intelligent to turn things around. They gave you 8 years. The economic management team, you were the boss. Have you forgotten yourself? You deceived all these people. They got disappointed. They were hurt because you were an imposter. You were never an economist. You lied to them. And that is what Ghanaians, that they cannot trust you. And do you know what makes it more dangerous? They cannot trust you, one, and they cannot trust the people you are working with or working with. Because the same people you were with 8 years are the same people behind you today. So what shows say there's one person who is intelligent to advise you to even change your ways. In the end, the minority about her. Now we catch a minority and say, and you lose election now internal party issues. It means you are not even recognizing the pain Ghanaians went through. You don't even want to recognize the pain that pensioners went through. You don't want to recognize the pain that nurses, NABCO personnel. You don't want to recognize the pain that the haircut they buy. You don't want to recognize the pain that inflation they buy. You just don't want to recognize the pain that the corruption. You don't want to recognize anything. You still don't care about what the Ghanaian felt. Only any feelings for Ghanaians. It is all about power. And that shows that you are not ready to be trusted, to be given power. This your statement alone shows you still don't even know why you lost. Now,
In other news, the conversation of the renaming of the Kotoko International Airport to Accra International Airport, abeye debatable. Ghana has say amanfo bebre eche wo madwene kasa de efa ho. Now nipa bako a wabetwe na adwene wo ho Madam Ellen Ama Dako a the special aide to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Now nensema wo de atodwane na that screens no say next NPP administration will also remove Jerry Rawlings' name from any national monument named after him because he's also a coup maker. Enti ensemwa Mame Ellen Kenyina say some of the notion tie the renaming of Mekane said the Kotoko International Airport and the fact that when you go into history lane, how the coup went and how Kotoko involved himself in a coup any the Utie Kwame plus and same crowd Diabeto Monzo Chemu say Kotoko crying his death and we even have to convict him because do there crack. So people are basing on a near general Kotoko during their time anko ye no mutim say sani pa we krano on saba so body na yedinidin akwa akoto airport bi so eno na mama Ellen ni chem say sana mo kanede a enye mo nso mo founder no the late flight lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings no yes so ye ba yes so ye be ni din e de free ade bia e wan ye Rawlings Park Rawlings Circle hwan ye be ni din e de free because ono nso cool and ye no de betena so until say yes nema ama yasa kwakoto abeyi ne se president enten yeso ye ba ye be hwe nuku side no because sometimes utie tempering for kra some of the things they speak about Rawlings and Rawlings time the Rawlings here Rawlings anti omo so me ne sa pepepe eno ene ye nsem a Mame Ellen e de abeto dwa ne that screens no so no makan e de amamo ye sisu will say the next NPP administration will also remove Jerry Rawlings' name from any national monument named after him because he is also a coup maker into se Kotoko coup into undeserve any unread dia any Rawlings and so sa enebeye na numum ena Imani Africa womu CEO Franklin Kujo and so abetwe na adwene de afa the renaming of the Kotoko International Airport. Now ninsema wade ebeto mountains utimu say he is so much disturbed and I say because ni buafu pa was the fact that the NDCs want to involve themselves in something like this wa brekra eniema ewu hia ewo hono ma sebe yebetimi aka ho asem na mo de among everything that we could talk about no the momo shene say mo be rename Kotoka International Airport. So this is what Franklin Kujo of Imani Africa what show ewo ne X handle so or say will the change in the name of the airport lead to a reduction in price of air tickets? NDC stop copying the ineffective habit of the last guys. Or say will the change in the name of the airport lead to a reduction in price of air tickets? Not just say Dina Mosesano yako airport ni ekoto ticket to kwanya ebete bono so ana said your bonnet and san ebet dini find significant improvement enye den emba and wochem say NDC for more money na honum na nie abanye ebetwa mu konwo mo ye no wo mo nso man sha ase so mu ye because MPP for buy enani esesa edin eyi ni akoye Amstad ni akoye ni say NDC for buy mobile revert all those names back. And why are you people also trying to do renaming here? We just say renaming, what is the most important thing about the renaming? And when you bring ho den say mo pese mo ye no. Now apart from a year Franklin Kujo and Afemame Ellen Dakwa or aid to Dr. Mahmoud Baumiano. One person that has also joined the conversation, the minority leader in parliament, Yura Afenyo Markins. Now, Afenyo Markins, then they trigger a whole lot of conversations because the beach say the submission to the rejection of the renaming of the airport, it's more of tribalism than any other thing. And for a lawmaker to start tribalism, not just say you are instigating that particular tribe, to cause violence. And I'm afraid to say, they have your mark and say Canada, and ya crack. Now you could see the submission now, and you have your markings and make here with regards to the change of name. No, James say we a bit affective Voltarians. How is it going to affect Voltarians? You could see in Sema what they etuja.
That all these years we've had this Kotoka, General Kotoka's name on the airport, and suddenly it is being changed. What is it? After it's Kotoka International Airport, Accra. So Accra is still there. I'm not suggesting any other name. I'm saying that the name Kotoka International Airport, Accra is already there. Accra is already there. So you don't need to remove Kotoka's name from there. So if you come to Accra or even in the country, how many prominent Voltarians have their names on national assets or national monuments? This is the only thing the people of Volta region can also at least see as something that recognizes heroism from the Volta region. And that one too, they are being denied. Well, Honorable Kwame Abuja is from Volta. Honorable Ukujeta Blakwa, he's from Volta and is sitting in cabinet. Honorable Fifi Kwete is the General Secretary of NDC from Volta region. Honorable Ahiafo, he is the first deputy speaker in this government from Volta region. Honorable Kwame Eche, the Fiamepo, majority chief from Volta region. And they are all sitting down, watching the government to take away a Voltarian's name, which has been given to our airport, and successive government never made any attempt to change it. And in this time and age, they are from Volta, and they are in the government, and they are watching Volta to lose its pride. It's up to them.
That is Honorable Afenyo Markins, will know and the minority leader in parliament. Not just what Chema say, Womokasa almost said Dina, not just say agrono, Womo ye nuanum auna for if ya agronimu. Yen is aswa enye, not just a say, obake akwaba issue ye ekoso yi na say akrafo ayo madwene say wo mo age bibia ade bia ye omo die bia no they have to be acknowledged for it what you say but enu nso na yera eye Kwesi Pratt Junior abechem say this doesn't make sense, this is childish right from the beginning. NDC for ayo madwene say wo mo ebe sesa the name of the Kotoka into Accra International Airport no say adewe eyenkradwen na de twa ne nsu mu kra ne say NDC for make it childish decision na minority for mo be counter a whole minority leader hwe asema awoka also instigate a friend saying the Ewes and as me can say the Voltarians against this thing now they are dreaming be show mutim de ende enya de beboa na nsemo a ye wa Kwesi Pratt a highlight ne de abusia ese waso ensese meka cho yenje bre na yentie wono nso ne nsema wode tuja.
Matter of fact, reasons given for changing the name and reasons given for retaining the name lack any they lack any substance. Let me be
charitable.
Let me be
diplomatic.
Very mild.
Okay.
You know, they lack any substance. Childish in the extreme. You understand? You have a majority leader announcing that the name of the airport is going to be changed. And the primary reason for changing the name of the airport is that it's located in Accra, and the land which was used for the construction of the airport was given by the people of Accra. By logical extension,
Thank you.
Everything in Accra should be named Accra.
Absolutely, Kwesi. You just made my day.
By logical extension.
You just made my day.
I mean, unbelievable.
You just made my day, Kwesi.
Moro, is that how our leaders think? It's so very shocking. So by logical extension, if God chiefs give land for the construction of any and everything, it should be named Accra. And the naming of the airport as Kotoka International Airport is seen as a crime against gas. How? That's problematic. Then we move on to the minority leader. Oh my goodness. And he's even worse than the majority leader. His reason for opposing the change of name is that if you change it, you must necessarily annoy the people of the Volta region. He reduces it to ethnicity, to some base, bigoted, nonsensical tribalism. This is the debate. Are you not shocked? This is the level of debate. Now, if this debate was probably taking place in some God-forsaken ghetto of drug addicts and so on, no problem. That's the level you would expect. But this debate is taking place in Parliament. The foremost law-making institution in our country. This is the level of the debate. Can you believe it? I'm so shocked. This. And please, Moro, please, forgive my language. I've been struggling to find appropriate language. I cannot. Because the ethnic argument is so childish and backward, it's unbelievable. Why? That because he's Ever and he comes from the Volta region, if you change the name, the people of Ever and so on will be angry. Where is this argument coming from? I know as a fact that after the 1966 coup, just bearing the name Fiawo was a problem. You wouldn't survive. Because one of the staunchest supporters of the Nkrumah government in the Kita area and so on was Fiawo. You understand? He was Fiawo. His children, I went to school with some of his children and so on. Just bearing the name Fiawo. spelled calamity. The numbers of people who were thrown into detention without trial and charge included others. I can mention a whole list of names. Excuse me.
Sorry about that.
Now, even the attack on Flagstaff House, you know that the coup was resisted by the presidential guard over a long period of time.
Yeah.
The attack on Flagstaff House, Kotoka and his people killed others. Others who were in the presidential guard were not spared because they were others. They were killed. You understand? The coup d'etat, the ministers who were arrested and dumped into prison without charge and without trial included others. They included Reverend Boka, who was an Ever. You understand? They included Reverend Boka, who was an Ever. So how does this become an Ever versus who? How does this issue become Ever versus others? It doesn't make sense. It's pedestrian. It's unbelievable. And this is the leadership of the minority in parliament. Everything must be reduced to one tribe against the other. Can you believe it? I am completely disgusted by the level of debate. I am ashamed by the level of debate. Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana, in 2026, we are going to take an important national decision. Whether you are for it or against it, come with sensible arguments and stop playing this tribal card. Yes, both of them are playing tribal cards. So if you're against the renaming, then you're against the gas. If you're for the renaming, then you're against the others. What level of
let me interrupt because I don't like. My gut feeling tells me that Uncle C part is about to explode.
Abusianfo na chese ensemo a yera kwesi prat editu jano no the two parties minority majority they are just toying with Ghana for yadwene ene akoma particularly towing this issue to tribalism akache wade nsemia babetuja efa bawumia ne babaako ehu abrante idin de koka yehu se during the primaries na before the primaries no na wo campaign den pa ede ema eye Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia nyasem keto ha brante na dash queens no eso no. Now after the elections yen na hu say honorable Kennedy Japan we lose poto e elections ni emu na brante yi ade a wo ye ne se chese won ye wanya daje na wo mo keken no sere no ni ade na vim ladies ehwe. This guy is toying with a year the future ambition in politics because so pese o ye politics now in politics obi every ewa kense mu a yenkogina won kwasresre tse de wo sresre no ye ne tactically strategically ene ye sa de na wo de wu ye de ene mo ne wu nua Jennifer ye a friend sen Ken e baba ko no so no company ma Ken pa o James Sankofo mienu we they've messed with their career in politics enya sem keto avim lady nsem a wo de etu dwa no yenko na yenkutie no
political maturity of Reba Omiane ne Kasai. In fact, you should need me na ne ade crown no brand na wa bre nkofo mo say na na Kennedy and woni ba Omiani pa ba ko say abante and say go ka say they want to say on you. Also your political telitabi on being what politics mo. Why you go ka wenyini ba on being what politics mo. You lack political wisdom. For you to go out and be hooting at Baumia. No there be ohro e friend saying Kennedy Japan hooting at him. And I a Canadian massa being or politics. When who sent penny for no my being or anybody went on camera and doing that. That be trust away your political John. Goka or your political John. Who need experience? Because who experience a deep. I'm not talking about near experience. I'm talking about deep understanding of politics. And you understand political strategy. One opponent no you do it strategically. Don't be the face of it, especially when you're young. wo years bebre wo wanim into wo years bebre wo wanim a unnim so ochina wo go kan na aba be MPP presidential candidate o ochina wo na aba be MPP general secretary you don't even know. This is not the display of character that you must display. So we need some political future. We are more strategic because look, elections here Moko 2028. You know, it's not just a simple win for Baumia. Baumia winning presidential candidates in it. You know, Ubabe Canada, Japan. A political teletubbies. Because you have lost almost 2 million votes. This is the time where you need all hands on deck. This is a time MDC for they are working, they are delivering. To the point the NDC for crime mistakes kakra and say omo ye kra as obi ampo. This is the time that you must be more strategic and say that hey Baumia we need more work no way. Number one, internally unity men and become mo abom. Say mo senya internal third force by the champ of vote na we no 33,000 34,000 plus vote. He's essentially a third force within the party. Into ukoko huru Canada Japan no. Say by the champ because of Canada Japan no me free ma wo be ko hen. So go ka o sa Canada Japan ni girl yourself friend say Jennifer Opon wo say mu nyina mu ye political teletubbies mu mature in politics. A party that lost your friend saying overwhelmingly, you've lost almost half of your seats in parliament. A party that lost about 2 million, your own voters, your own Ashanti region World Bank did not come to vote. You've lost your World Bank, 5% of your World Bank, 5% of the total vote in your World Bank. Uko Canada, Japan. Oh yale. You need everybody on board internally. Even sir, internal MPP for Nakasa, you need them on board. And son, I work floating voters. So now this is the time I go Hurobi. Moon here Jesus. Until 2028, you can jubilate all you want. Someone started homework from today. And that's why if you look at Baumia and Samira, they were very strategic. Kosha Baumia and Samira, very strategic with their jubilation. Bayan Sanfa Bosbodiama Samira. In fact, this primary senior one of the people who has really worked, Samira Natoshi, a man or more this year campaign. In fact, they've worked. Papa. Natoshi near Samira, they worked. And that's it. What was that? Samira Kojina baby Hurobi. And Natoshi Kojina baby can say my strategic. No, be very careful. Politics, no. There's a bigger game than that. What I said, there's a bigger game ahead. I was saying, careful. Bayana make an effort, but Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, congratulations to you for a good job done. What I said, from your nomination to ballot paper, no balloting to your winning of the prime. Why are there? Baumia are there? Because I mean, he's beating all the odds to continue to maintain his position as the flag bearer of MPP. Now make an affair Jumano aso because of this top bottom approach MPP for change of constitution of the ban. Affair naka constituency elections, affair naka polling station elections, affair naka electoral area near there. How to strengthen the party from grassroots. Omo amoye omo bone abronye tete omo naso asofo amadidi omatem. This you have a bigger job to do MPP. That's what I'm saying. Said this is not the time you hurobi. This is not the time I primo be akutia. And yes, 2028 you can't go anywhere because opposition NDC force there. But right now we don't know who NDC is bringing. And that's why you will even be more strategic. Because only obi kwa who nim near or the neighbor. Say yes, you don't get you. Say why crown NDC for planting with you more MPP unim. It's more who go Kaujina who Canada Japan. NDC can go and see Canada Japan and just use him. Say, oh, the men fear MPP no more. Tonight MPP mo na say MPP for no within. Yabema Osika say they can do that. NDC politics, there's a game of strategy. NDC can do that say because maybe Mahama is not going again in 2028. You know, you use Canada Japan as an internal missile. Now you finish MPP from within. Assume them Bermuda. They beyond creating confusion between now and 2028. Oh, kako huru no. Huh? Goka. Oh, kako huru no. Munye very careful. Munye very, very careful. Na Baumia ne Juma na oye no. Must say he's officially your candidate. Intino mupo you have to support him. And this is the time Baumia na so must reach out. Usha said there no omu nyina frɛ no Brian Champon me ade omu frɛ no mbo na baso a. Baumia na so has to do homework. Uncle room to room, door to door. Oh, yeah, the candidate in Canada, Japan, Brian, Kwabne Japan. I've seen that Baumia has done some work with Kwabne Japan. I would say Kwabne Japan is really helping him near there. I think one of the assets IMPP were Kwabne Japan. Now I don't know who no manage it. So Baumia must go back to Kwabena Japan and use Kwabena Japan very well. Use Kwabena Japan very, 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 very well. So our elections here are muye. Mo shakwa ya mboti mini Kwabena Japan kasa so that Kwabena Japan can be strategic to support you people because you can't in terms of omo call your presidential no. Nipa ba ko wa bing pan or experience ya Kwabena Japan. It's unfortunate that another government could not use Kwabena Japan well. It's an asset to pay. You can't more na founders so I younger the time no MPP, but still he's
Abusia Vim lady nensema wode etuja no na yekọ ekotie yen sorry Vim lady ensem we so a na eye abrantie koka na eye Vim lady ebo nachi kanasem no waba abontene aba be kasa aba be pacho a wo chemu se niema bebre na wakeka ade etetia nkofo during the primaries ni ade no na nso say NPP amanyoko no ehia nkabom omuhia oneness any unity said the Vim lady ekanye no enti wono nso pachew say omo a wetetia omuna so nyina omunyan manenka na omumfa omuntema embo omuntema no na omummoa ma NPP entimi emra ben mu 2028 yenti ni nsema wode etudwa
atemdidie no obi wo ho a eno na ebema ne bo ateniyem se wo fo se maye oboni na atemdidie di opeso ka kirim bia me ye sorry Jennifer Pon wo ye busua ema obi na ada hwe abato we eya na edi hwe defeat wa abato mu enye easy pass all candidates be lose eya na edi enti I understand your pain but let's take it easy eya internal fight ye wie mumrema together NDC for muntumi nyawo sanya okasa o vim o courage challenge Jennifer Pon me obi uhuhu na me obi nhwahwa brefie ye nyina ye bref ye befie sesi ye ba ko omo ba ba kan ye no ene no omo be deal internal ye wie ma mamuma nkrofo na omo bre outsiders na matise Jenny fake lawyer bi a onko courtroom da oti abruchi o say lawyer ono ne law no social media o so ya no okofa station na apam no picture atu nachi no analyzing crofo can say a political why a politics da apart from mpuna wo twen wo politics why a politics da the first politics news work on just all the politics me to me but young ladies e court e di akona be di case now it is social media mamma abontin so for sabi media for ni bia they are not intellectuals ye intellectuals ye nimde mum ye mra together obi empamu obi ye baako yakon awie efie ntokwa efie ne yakon no yakon ye hu fin ye dware ye bedidi eda aba mum ye nyi ani atemdidie no obi wo ho a eno na ebema ne bo ate ne yem se wo fo se maye oboni na atemdidie di opese o ka kirim bia me ye sorry ubetumi aka but pass MPP ni me no be yin se ma no.
Okay, again, people have it that so that we can efien tokwa again. Nema bia we can eto online. It's still there forever. How do you make these things?
Efien tokwa yakun ewie. O MPP ni. O MPP card. O ya member of the family. Me na me ni enya. Eni ewie. Wa wo ti abonten wo ha on saying. Wo ha on saying. Ubi bia ira. Sa bai wa na okasa bebiri no awo na untumi wo no me na me ye
abusiafo na chese efie ntokwa yaka awie yes sorry nsem ne so dia na answer intem meka ne say for some few months you know the conversation on polygamy abe very delicate e wo Ghana hanum say amanfo bebre kasa about polygamy efi bra that the lumba wu ya ye bete timodo broni eneti makosia say wa polygamy nsensem enani etu mema for lawyers for kasa ni ade me no ka say me say ye yenya the second that the lumba wonu no wuye oti nkwamu pa so wo ya the second that the lumba ono any reverend obofo abusia eye kwaku bofo na wo trende e social media no so na no ada enodi na woda na wo kodi ye no na akotwetwen ensem wenyina ba se de yesusu a ye yi kwinsiara efri ho a ye kwaku bofo yira ye nyina ye nim na chese emam yenu bi ehye wan corner allegedly now ensem akoba ye nyina ne se kwaku bofo birthday no na eye wukopiem wo Kumasi a eduane pa eye CEO wo honom ono nso posti eye kwakubofo na caption no ene kwatwetwensem ba ya manfo ekofa eye ye robofo ne maame ayie no maame kopiem wo ho videos ase wo hwe the state ana obofo ene maame no ewo mu a ase is quite egi kakra ho ehe na manfo chem say something is going on omu hwe caption ne kwa lady ne tro ye during the birthday na kwensiara nso be reply ye ne dia na chese bibi koso something is somewhere na ye ka lady na sem ni ye nkan wie ye kra out of the blues boom ye say lady fufuro nso aba abontene a onu so twemu se wo ye baby mama de ma eye reverend obofo a woni obofo kra wo ma asem we ye kire mu sen abusiafo na cha se aye twema mentwe e social media no so a enya asem kito amafo chem se dia ye de Ghana mema monam hu so because polygamy issues are ye kem ebe ye dia de nsem aba that luma de ye nkan wie ye se obofo nso ne de ebe ka ho ana na numu na sabria me ne wo kase kwensiara waba bonti abechem se ono oye legal wife because oni ni kunu aware no wo nkrata so muya obeji certificate no ejina ka mu apagya wo soro ama mu nyina mahu se oye legal wife na mom enya de obeja ne kunu mu e de ama obia yenko na yenko tie nsem akwensiara e de eto so.
Let me tell you the fact. I don't give a fuck about any woman. Kokubofo is mine and mine for real, then mine forever. I'm not giving damn about anybody. Everybody obieka yeah and oko menwale obia pipesimu enimi kran wale. I know me who say some bitches coming out so we insulting men and ma. Fuck them. Fuck them. I don't give a fuck about Obia. All about life. Ebeka say, and I Sierra and the me, I was so young when I'm a Wale Kokubo 4. And Kokubo 4 is my husband. My husband. If we say my husband, I mean it. He is my husband. And I'm a dono. Me no and come wale no. Yeah, me no and come wale no. Me don't know me pen asem no. Me my say me ne bo abrabo no. Anything na ma wale no. Me ne wo ma. I respect me a lot. And you na me posi no. Me posi and you no to give so bitches. This. This. Me fa obia ho. I don't know anybody. Any pa me nimu ye kwakubo fo. On na me friend say ekunu. Me friend say ekunu. Menene wo ma. Menene wo ma. Menene wo ma. Mikro no. Meslam. Mo bi anfre me. Yes, will be the one. I don't want to mention that name. No, I don't want to mention it. Enough is enough. I respect myself and I know my position. The position that I have now. Maybe say a cow. It's Enti no on say me ne kwaku bofo nyaaye a efe no reverend obofo
abusuafo Quincyara na chese waso life and nani abre se amanfo nsem a wo mo ekeka se eye woni ni kunu agyae me wono kura wakoware be ma foforo ni ade no nokre bia enimu wono ene ni kunu wo mo hwia bomu ate wola na say nobody is leaving anybody, nobody is leaving who won kom mana afi emeye debi ono nipa wonima eye kokubofo eye reverend obofo aye nyina ye nim ono ene enikuna wonim enti any other rumor ene onipa awaye na dwen se wone ne betwen se ona so ye baby mama wone na wo sen ena wona wo se usu waria ta so se so pese wo yesofo maame no wono oye legally married to kwakubofo a unin krata meme hu ye meye odobroni ni tim akosia se wa ha se wonu oni adaja wo beye tim Quincyara ne tim hwan side checks onya adaje enti obi a enini lemu no ono nso entina na ware ho na even though na ensem we na akoso no obofo nso akeka ne dia fine wa show Ghana for say eye ne yire ene one ne wo ho any other room obi a ye tete no ye ntwa embo abusia na chese ensem no de aye a whole lot of issues ye chese at this point Ghanaian men e wose mamani da ho na sa eye polygamy na I have a wife, I have a side chick ade be chi ye metia ne side chick or the side chick wada ni baby mama wa wo baako wa wo mienu wa wo miensa nine na afi ye be wane se wo be pre title so no oni paper ye mfa title ye nye ne kwa wo ye de paper ne kwaje title no enti na afi mo ma ye nya aso wo kroma de ye te ho kra no ye solving wie ye ene no mo free press conference ni ade we don't want any other press conference enti Ghana for mema ye sremo mo ma ni na ho brofo ni bo ha ye ntimi ntie ayo abusia ye sorry so am na ye nkopie mu ewo NPP amanyoko no akache eho ena na anu ada election jenjereje ekoso a election no kwa wie ye ni ehu de odi nkunim de otoso ne de ore ye eni ade na before the elections no global info analytics wa mo Penny Musada kwa bekasa ya no chemu se odine juma wa ye ne mfinsha bebreni ne to so se bawumia be wini ampeni ampa na bawumia wini na nkomotwetwe mu no eno de nsem bi ababeto dwa screens no so say with a longer campaign period Brian Champon would have overtaken Kennedy Japan enti no twemu a emretia wani a Brian Champon ekosi akensie no mu so wono nso pre flag bearer dibrenu ebie no ena Musada kwa kire mu se senka ebreni bi be kan ho a enka se de Brian Champon besie to Kennedy Japan ade so no enka be chese be Ghana for nsem na say no the biggest nightmare na nke genim say ye Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia no a wote Ken wo party ni mu flag bearership race no Ken nya second nightmare a ye honorable Brian Champon eno ena ye Musada kwa ede ebeto emontenso na ensem we ekoso no ena ye Musada kwa ababeche mu se Ken se de woka no no eche kakra bia anka Brian Champon be ma Kennedy Japan nanim eguase papa ewo Ghana krodwem wa kire mu de nti a woka sa ensem we yenje bre na yenje mu nchiremu
enti na yenim se in 2023 we need two regions. Central region, massively, you would say. Greater Accra, no, he didn't win. He won Volta. Volta was not gap, no, Greater Accra this year, many of the campaign team members didn't come on. They were very confident about winning Greater Accra. But almost 2023, not gap near about 2,000. But we 19,000, we 17,000. But it seems that this year, it was total annihilation.
Abusia Musada kwa ensensem na na yeguso no video na enche yebekwa kotie the analysis Musada kwa ede emaye with regards to Brian Champon said they would me poorly votes in the just ended NPP primaries no na wotimi ema sebe agro no esheki kakra eno na woche mu say said na niamasi kone de Brian Champon Nedi said they would me gada ye enya that kind of numbers during the primaries, is quite intriguing. Anka ko kakra bi be campaign period eko nenim kakra bi enka we wouldn't see Kennedy Japan taking after Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia te said they no anka obe sweep votes ne kama ebe nwanwa e Ghana hanum say yentie no emra.
Na yenim say in 2023, we need 2 regions. Central region, massively, you would say. Greater Accra, no, he didn't win. He won Volta. Volta was not gap, no, Greater Accra this year, many of the campaign team members didn't come. They were very confident about winning Greater Accra. But almost 2023, na gap near about 2,000. But we 19,000, we 17,000. But Sim said this year, it was total annihilation even in Greater Accra. Analyze Kendi and what was wrong?
Ushe Greater Accra demography.
Yes.
It is heavily Akan as well.
Okay.
So the spillover from Ashanti region and Eastern region, you see it
in Accra.
Ablokumadov.
Yeah.
Amasama. Those Anyaso, Trubu, Kwabinya, the ethnic groups now holding in an heavily Eastern and Ashanti region. So once you are not holding your own in Eastern Ashanti region, you necessarily collapse in these areas. That's what happened.
Yeah. But even for the central region, so what's your figures now? Bawumia didn't perform bad in the central region.
No.
I mean, the gap was not that wide. Oshe, he was tipped to win Western region. He was tipped to win Western North region. That's for his campaign team. Even if he would lose, no one expected that gap. But it seems that the gap was that wide.
Ushe Central, the polls were giving Kennedy around 58%.
Yes.
He got 48%. That's a drop of 10%.
A drop.
Yeah.
Bawumia was giving 39 in the polls. He got 37. So largely the same. And Brian from 3% to 15%. So Brian kind of damaged him in Central region.
Oh, Brian had 15%.
Yes.
That was Central region. Oh, that's the Brian effect against Ken was massive.
Massive. And in Central, we 15 now. Be back here. It's not a joke.
Yeah,
he couldn't cross 50% in Central region.
Wow. And for Western region too. Well, Western region, I saw it was a clean sweep for Bawumia. He won almost every constituency there.
In fact, he overperformed the polls. We were saying he was going to get around 56%. He got 61.
In Western region.
And Ken, we thought, 42. We are 23. Again, Brian from 2 to 15.
Yeah. In Western
region. So the two fancy regions didn't help him.
Oh, that's really interesting. And for the greater Accra numbers, let's say percentage about me, do we know greater Accra?
We share greater Accra, but we are 55%. We're projecting him to be around 59. So roughly plus or minus 3%. Yeah. It's not far from that range.
Yes.
Kennedy 29, 31. Brian 11 to 14. So Brian took the numbers largely from Bawumia.
Yes.
He
took it largely from
Bawumia. Yeah. From Bawumia. Because Ken went up from the projection. Now, we were giving him 29%.
Okay.
He got 31%.
31%.
And Brian was 11%. He got 14%. And Bawumia was 59%. He got 5%. So Bawumia kind of lost grounds in Greater Accra. It is because of the same ethnic groups now, more these constituencies, which are linking to Eastern region and Ashanti region, where Brian is quite.
Sure.
So that's the effect.
Abusia, that was Musa Dankwa and Achese will draw the analytical data of how Brian Champon was able to sweep some votes in some of the regions. Any other day. Now, ye kasa about Brian Champon, the sweeping of votes in some regions, not ye can voter region, and so aka home. And no, yera Musa Dankwa, our ye penia or that global info analytics, and no say the biggest surprise. Kwanya Brian Champon etimi ewini massive votes ewo voter region na chese agene nsem because pen research na ade awoye no Brian Champon na he wasn't even leading with winning voter region, but then akensi any query you know na we take a very huge sweep e voter region a eye ne wanwa pa yenkotie eno so ensema wode etuja
mini would come how on Tuesday into we went through polling reporter what the eba you know. Now the elections are happening. The biggest surprise in the election for Wona Eden,
I think is Brian winning voter region.
Brian winning voter region.
Yes.
Because I remember so man 3% in voter region, right?
I can't remember exactly.
Okay.
But there were about 32% not disclosing.
Not disclosed. Or voter.
Or voter region. And those numbers were quite significant. But in terms of overall result, no, we saw it coming. There was some collapse in Kennedy's poll numbers towards that week.
The last 2 weeks, no. Yes.
And I think that collapse continued beyond our polling period, and that we didn't have visibility of.
Okay.
So actually, what happened was that Kennedy performed worse than our worst case scenario for him, and Brian performed better than best case scenario for him. But Baume was on point.
Baume at the end of the year.
Yes, was on
everything. Point. Nothing surprised you with Baume at the end.
No.
But on Brian and Waka, yes, I mean all of us were surprised. But I don't know, may share Saturday, may share regional results, no. Me who Volta region, me who said Brian, and I was like, wow, this is like an upset of a sort of Volta region. Nobody expected that to happen. You know, and Utimi, but really, after looking at the numbers across the country, what was different about Brian? The dynamic Brian Timinya numbers are
he offered a fresh of.
A breath of fresh air for the delegates.
For the delegates. And who share the two candidates now? What Ken was bragging on, Ken could do the same.
Brian could do the same. That is money. That is
grassroots.
Yeah. Entrepreneurship.
But Brian onye metes also.
Okay.
So somebody who is kind of Brian too is there, but Brian is a refined version of Ken. And then Ken didn't have the age advantage, and Brian had age advantage. So it made it easier for the delegates, and especially when you are collapsing in the polls. It was much easier for them to say Yankwaha.
I saw a video of Brian thanking delegates in Ewe, not Oka Ewe.
I never knew who spoke Ewe.
Would that have played a role in voter region?
Absolutely. You see, when you go to people and you speak their language, that's the first barrier we break. They see you as one of their own.
One of them.
Yeah. I'm a Muslim. But when I go to place and I speak the language, that's it. And beside the house, I speak other languages. They find it so,
yeah.
So they treat you differently.
Yeah.
So language is a very important skill that we should learn. And that language broke for Brian in voter region.
Because Brian won, Baumia came second, Ken Owini 2023 and about third. I that cannot be explained, can it? Because minim how you could have predicted that happening in voter region.
No, I mean it's difficult unless the signs were there.
Yeah.
But the signs weren't there. So it was something that happened the last minute in a very massive way. And with about 32% undisclosed, it's quite significant.
That was how Brian Champon just said, the jack of all trades, Uduha, no can Auza, Udua, or can Igbe Udua. I just said, what to me, a sweepy Kennedy of Japan of some votes near there. Ama Ken, this time around, no nana who dimu abafem. And Utie said the Musada Kwai Kandana, not just said Brian Champon is a refined version of a honorable Kennedy Japan, not just say Eka, Enya Abefia, and I said, now you Ken is a businessman, is an entrepreneur. Brian is a businessman and entrepreneur. One soon near dim bugan wo bobby, but just that one no dieno. Says I say, ya polishing hokakra. I say, aha, and no ena musadakwa eka ho asem. Now yen free MPP for and same way eso dia. Na beye afiba kunye ena one of the seasoned journalists that work room ha meka say ban sports we di mu akotene papa na adwuma ebo no na enya asem ketwa efa defamation suit yankasa yen former Black Star defender John Pentel ene ne enya ye mekire Countryman Zongo a wone multimedia ena adwuma na ne nyina afa ne nsem a okokeka anye de efa John Pentel ho didi na tem chese ebusia that video ana Countryman Zongo twabo John Pentel no na enya asem ketwa sebe na moto mu bon we na de den ne ho kan nsem bebre na John Pentel so one spare Countryman Zongo de asem ne kodan court a osu for defamation multimedia ye wo madwene se wo beye do betimi bia se de beya wo mo be settle the issue out of court but anye ye ene ye tete se case no ade a wo mo resume case no ewo court ebiem now so no fortunately me no ka say Countryman Zongo after over a year of suspension no yasanso reinstating the back ewo adwumema ene osha brantie wa dane ho so boko ene ne chese ye heli no countryman wakwakopie mu ewo adwumem ye hwese de niama esi ekoye ba ye beto aso
fireman baby stone. Oh, baby girls, fireman back.
Countryman Zongo ena ye bone nsamrane fireman uyoja utimusa brante no ho afa no see e be suspend o getting to a year there enya asem ketwa nene wokopie mu no na chese wo hwe reception aye de man no e wo hono ma na timi se be machine lessons ai untimi nkokasa keke na onfa ho ndi case ne de e da so wo ho a wo mo ebe kwakodi e wo court a omo call recess wo case ne ho but ya sen resume ye bie case ni bie e wo court a enya asem ketwa na wo bepie mu no wakasa ono atu nanum tu akirem sesese no waba na bana waba ne de eyensem bebre ono a kire the reason why a wasa baba ka wo be ye adwuma na wutie ne kasa yemu na atimu say a man has got a lot to learn yesi efuto ohwe ensachire nipa age nsohwe ampa we de nsohwe bi wo hono ma etimi pusu ema usisa wakwan ehhehye woni ema yie yenkotie Countryman ensema wode etudwa
enye de kasa enye kasa keke adwuma na moye no ehunkuntabuo ena ye pese mubu na mubu ni papa mubu ni ye enye kasa accountability eno na fireman me be fireman me gusu ba be fireman because he expect say reset enoma ebesesa reset beba enoma besesa sene be ya Ghana sports ne be dey ebe fan into mapa efra Ghana sports also fan into mapa efra enkuntabu accountability sports ne ye no ball na ye no emfaso ben yenya trophies ben yenya caps ben yenya sportsmen and women medals say and we produce international sportsmen and women say you produce you as a country anything I'm a fireman anything I'm a fire no fear no evil. Me nyankopon so.
Countryman Zongo, fireman, ebusia, wakasa, wachemse se waba, bana wabano, ejuma waba beye nyina ene se, wabebwa, ama sebe, resettings, bini ade akoso, ewa the Football Association nemu, enyema enko ye ni yebeka ho asem na chese hono, wamaya ti asese se, no attacking of personalities biem, ade ne nya yebeka de enye ne de yebeka, but say, ye kwa punch no, ebekoso, but in a very strategic and calm way. And one wakasa say is all about the Ghana Football Association. Say befa netama prefra say the right things will be done at the right time. And niema touch money adeni betimi affix oh na sebe yehu say Ghana Football Association no ebefa netama prefra because enough of and say ochina say yenhye dem hu niema ni so ni ade but eneno he's back and he's back to fire. Oh you be a follow Countryman Zongo very well who say he's so passionate about the Ghana Football Association and the Ghana football as a whole. Say Ghana ye bo ebe kon kan na kon anim nti okasa with so much aggressiveness and so much a friend is saying passion. Say the right things need to be done. And to say after the 1 year suspension following a year when John Pinto issues are a buy a court and you know John Pinto SUE a year friend is saying Countryman Zongo, SUE Multimedia, SUE Sadiq Adams. There are a couple of people are women so ekasa and same way one. Asem no that's why we no ma womu edi. Sabre the court cry a cross examination with John Pinto. Aka a year Countryman or no so a cross examination. Yeah, there na case no a movie on akone name. It would say a Jumaya Fwa a one multimedia ne there. They are happy to see a fireman back on the job and Sebe Ebinum so say this should be a lesson to him. You can't just go about attacking people just like that because John Pinto has offered a lot and this has got to do a brand new year for John Pinto as assistant coach near their changes eba GFA nimuno and asanse wenyina eba ebeto but and then he's back after 1 year of suspension. Now in some way amuno eye chema wuntimi ene yekopiemu ewo NPP akachia waba out eden krata bia ba beto monten so amanfo chem say wait oh is this the chairman wuntimi we know or there is another chairman wuntimi a we this krata we abeto monten bibisa say is NPP becoming a jovial party now because tell us why no one say na be enti nipa bebre wo party ni mu no ye nya obia so opeso obia opeso ye e friend say national chairman chen chairman wuntimi ana now ye fa krata chairman wuntimi dey about the enter screens ni so ma there February 4th 2026 me kire ya today and we say today for who na chairman wuntimi de sankrata ya ba say our party has faced challenges and learned hard lessons along the way at this critical moment and the MPP demands leadership that is steady, principled, and committed to unity. A leader who is grassroots personified, who values every member from our elders to the youthful allies, and who is willing to make the ultimate sacrifices for the party. Into a chema party no abrabomu kukushia senyina wo afemu bi na celebrate the edu baby a wo mu hia kandinia sebe na adwen da form na niwo fem na nhyehyeye ne ntotoye nyina ye pepepe na wasi ne bo se wo bepre ama pepe ye biakoye aba MPP amanyokuo no emu ena wo hia eye leader bi a sebe eba ne grassroots dia onye omu nyina eye fine mpanimfo nso obuomo emabunu obia na waye krado se wode ne ho bebo afore e de ama party no o say I Bernard Entwibuesi akon chairman wontimi having consulted my maker and sought the council of party elders hereby declare my intentions to serve as national chairman of the new patriotic party. I do so not for personal ambition but to strengthen, rebuild and unify our great party. Into a chema wono chema wuntimi say wa one nyame atentam one nyame akasa ene nyame akere ne say obetimi akwakoye national chairman to oni mpanimfo wo party ni mu asusu ho ene omu nyina amano eye wo mo support say obetimi abepre national chairman ti say no pese obeye national chairman ma MPP amanyuko no emom yenhye ne nso say bia emfaso onu benyanti no obeye dede bi na say party no betimi afa ne ntamapa efra enu nti ene opese obeye chairman or said the road ahead will demand vision, courage and unwavering determination. Leadership at this moment requires bravery, the courage to stand firm, make difficult decisions and be willing to lose everything if necessary for MPP. It was say impompon so amanyuko ne duro no. Enya kendini a owa akukuduro. No when this wadi hunu. Na wa riata so say wo bepre ama amanyuko no sempo ne niema wo nyina be hwere ne kra. He doesn't mind. Obejina pinti na ebre din mu no wajina ho e de amama nyuko no. So we are ready, we are organized, we are built for the battle ahead. Together we will restore confidence, empower grassroots and position the NPP to win decisively in 2028. This is our moment to rise, to lead and to deliver for the NPP. Into a chairman say the omaya krado omesiesi omo omani abre say ko eda animu no omo begina mu na omo won kabo mu honhom so say omo ba ko ama MPP etimi edi nkunim 2028 enti embre no nie. I say God bless the new patriotic party, God bless our democracy, God bless our motherland Ghana. Signed Bernard Entwibo Esiakon Wuntimi, Ashanti Regional Chairman, New Patriotic Party. Enti ensam no ene da ho no abusia asemi yehu ye ni etete hu on from memtina broni say behind every rumor there is an iota of truth. Asem ne ko ba hu na ebisi anya nokre ebisi anya nokre ebisi anya nokre ebisi anya nokre asem no e na aba beto ho no chema wuntimi chire man say ono nso epese wokopre chairmanship position e wo MPP amanyoko no emu yehwe ba bi yebekwa kodru yebeto amano yento man because they say yewe primaries no that is where the next elections ne ebeko ye channel to polling stations to constituencies and ne aba parliamentary ne ade nyina enti yehwe ba bi akensie ne bekwa kodwie de ama Ashanti regional chairman Wuntumi. Now yentoa ensem ne so a mpanifo besie sankofa yenchi ya bobo nsem so e de afa change of name e de ma airport e Ghana ha yenyina yenim no Askotoka International Airport no say aye no ye pese ye no Accra International Airport mu a egu akwan mu. Now majority leader Afenyoma Kent e be kasa aye fa ho anu otwem say the Voltarians no as ye yi omobaako e de amom more like oba keni akwa basantefo ne enkranfo de boy ni na say akoye enkranfo ni agbefo biem because Kotoka no ya igbeni na ama agbefo nso dinya ba history mu ni ade ene Voltarians for enso aba be kasa about this whole change of name wo mo edit press release ten abeto monten so efa the change of name no ho now omo a omo kenyina ne say de ayekoso no womobo enju womo kra and which screens ne so this is coming from voter representatives or say a press statement on renaming Kotoka International Airport a misplaced priority. Ghana must firmly reject. Or say I have taken note of the report indicating the intention of the majority leader through the Ministry of Transport to introduce a bill in Parliament seeking to rename Kotoka International Airport as Accra International Airport. As Volta Regional Commissioner of the National Development Planning Commission, I must state clearly and firmly that this proposal represents a misplaced policy priority and must be resisted in the national interest. Into a chema, idea NDC for person wo ye titire enam yera Mahama Yarega the majority leader. So through the Ministry of Transport no, e was a Ghana fo nyina do omo nansi form kase yen jintum yen penny esan say we idea ehu hia. Or say in the course of my work, I have traveled across different regions of the world world and pass through many international airports. A consistent global practice is evident. Airports are often named after individuals, statesmen, reformers, and heroic citizens, not as casual symbolism, but to reflect history, identity, and national purpose. Into a chema, according they were to be, in Kronkra Hodwa, yet the edin air to airport, so I nay nipabia, o share a ya bakwasemwa, wa ye bribi, abua a yes acrono, o share and pennyfoku da mombabe buan chrono, momos uncle funny din, and one more tied to airport for airport eso. Then yes, because a ya cranty and a northern region tea near the northern region there be yet to a nipa. Airport the nipa din eneto according to a yes or say these names have not hindered efficiency, competitiveness, or global recognition. On the contrary, they coexist seamlessly with world-class performance. Into a chema, a dinner more sisanono, and chese oko airport honoma, a jumane ebe chain caneno, and I say ebema amanse who ye chain caneno. It's basically going to do nothing. What I say into way and fasobian this was say. International airports are not mere symbols. They are strategic economic assets. Their value is determined by efficiency, safety, connectivity, cost competitiveness, cargo capacity, and the ability to attract airlines, trade, tourism, and investment. A change in name does not improve operational performance, reduce cost, expand routes, or increase passenger or cargo volumes. It delivers no measurable economic benefit. Into a chema, a dina more predintin some besesano, and fesika, and megu, abainu a bottom, there be, and fanfas will be ma, said the Nyamatiana, sa, and yes. So, what is the relevance of changing a year the name? Yeah, Percy, as a Sunday say, as I say, no, ababe debate, Ghana Hanum say. So, you could see, say, from what it is being written, dear. Yes, let's say Ghana Funina should object to the fact that we shouldn't agree. Say Yensisa a year the name from Kotoka International Airport to a year Accra International Airport, because at the end of the day, no, Mfanfaswobia Emma. Or see the unavoidable policy question therefore remains: what national problem does this renaming solve? Until Chiremwa, how bebre da Ghana for ye so. Edin wombesesa no edi epa na eba be ya mayen ediskaba begui ebotom. What at all, what significant thing and a sad change of name we ba be ya mayen ti mo mayen nya ya so e wo krodue mu hanum say at a time of fiscal strain, rising public debt, and intense pressure on public investment, the absence of any clearly defined economic, operational, and financial justification makes this proposal deeply concerning. Renaming a major international airport is not cost-free. It requires parliamentary time, administrative capacity, and rebranding and system update. Expenses across global aviation, logistics, and digital platforms. Every CD and every unit of institutional focus devoted to symbolic change is capacity diverted from urgent priorities: improving safety systems, passenger experience, cargo handling, and positioning Accra as a competitive regional aviation hub. Into Mutrima, adi amo se mo besesa nyese bia sika nkom sika bekom, because nyema bi wa wasi yesesa yekwa system ni mu yekwa sisa din yekwa ye IT niema de change din ni ade to think that a rebranding say even cry a signage cry ye betua ni asa aye signage ne foforo from Kotoka to Accra ni nyina eye ka parliament for that je o mekokot na dia bobo. Time is money. This is quite investment into Yen Chambo. Kotoka International Airport is already firmly embedded in international aviation systems. Stability and predictability are assets in global air transport. Many countries deliberately retain long-established airport names while directing reform energy toward efficiency, service quality, and commercial competitiveness. Ghana should do same. So chema other countries amanhodo so a eniema omo ye ne se edin ni de wo ho so ade a omo hwe ne se amanfo ba airport honoma ye betimi serve omo ye kwan omo fa so ye omo niema they will improve by day na afei de more income more revenue abre oman no na de Ghana for ye de emwa. Also this proposal also raises a wilder governance concern. Public confidence is strengthened when government action is clearly aligned with national development priorities and sequenced according to urgency and impact. When initiatives of limited apparent economic value are advanced amid far more pressing national challenges, citizens are right to question the seriousness of our policy focus. Inti se niema emwa o mine ba I was say yeah timemufo aye wo man ni mu no yetimi kasa ho say de be ya niema papa betimi aba yakwamu na change of name de emwa. Ghana's aviation sector requires reforms that matter: lower operating costs, improved efficiency, expanded cargo and logistics capacity, and a coherent strategy to position Accra as a true West African hub. These are the interventions that generate growth, jobs, and foreign exchange, not cosmetic renaming exercises. And for the reasons I strongly and unequivocally call on the voter caucus in Parliament, voter regional House of Chiefs, voter-based diasporal oppressions, and all votarians at home and abroad to fiercely reject these needless proposals. I also urge the wider Ghanaian public to insist on policy discipline and economic seriousness. National development is driven by performance, competitiveness, and results, not by changes in designation. Ghana cannot afford distractions. This proposal must be firmly rejected so that the national attention remains focused on economic recovery and sustainable growth. Dr. Elikem Kwabla apetogbo wono ene de sansem we eba ebusuafo na che say yen rejected the renaming na yen mampanimfo hu se eniem hu hia e wo honom a e wo se wo mo eye e de eboa wo man Ghana. Kwesi prata kasa e de afa ho a wa che na dwen said this shouldn't be something about tribalism. A ye be free voter House of Chief ni votarians ni ade yentie no embra.
Of fact, reasons given for changing the name and reasons given for retaining the name lack any they lack any substance. Let me be charitable. Let me be diplomatic. Very mild. Okay. They lack any substance. Childish in the extreme. You understand? You have a majority leader announcing that the name of the airport is going to be changed. And the primary reason for changing the name of the airport is that it's located in Accra, and the land which was used for the construction of the airport was given by the people of Accra. By logical extension,
thank you.
Everything in Accra should be named Accra.
Absolutely, Angwesi. You just made my day.
By logical extension.
You just made my day.
I mean, unbelievable.
You just made my day, Angwesi.
Moro, is that how our leaders think? It's so very shocking. So by logical extension, if God chiefs give land for the construction of any and everything, it should be named Accra. And the naming of the airport as Kotoka International Airport is seen as a crime against gas. How? That's problematic. Then we move on to the minority leader. Oh my goodness. And he's even worse than the majority leader. His reason for opposing the change of name is that the name belongs to an Ewe or somebody from the Volta region. And that if you change it, you must necessarily annoy the people of the Volta region. He reduces it to ethnicity, to some base, bigoted, nonsensical tribalism. This is the debate. Are you not shocked? This is the level of debate. Now, if this debate was probably taking place in some God-forsaken ghetto of drug addicts and so on, no problem. That's the level you would expect. But this debate is taking place in Parliament, the foremost law-making institution in our country. This is the level of the debate. Can you believe it? I'm so shocked. This, and please, Moro, please, forgive my language. I've been struggling to find appropriate language. I cannot. Because the ethnic argument is so childish and backward, it's unbelievable. Why? That because he's Ever and he comes from the Volta region, if you change the name, the people of Ever as well will be angry. Where is this argument coming from? I know as a fact that after the 1966 coup, just bearing the name Fiawo was a problem. We wouldn't survive. Because one of the staunchest supporters of the Nkrumah government in the Kita area and so on was Fiawo. You understand? He was Fiawo. His children, I went to school with some of his children and so on. Just bearing the name Fiawo spelled calamity. The numbers of people who were thrown into detention without trial and charge included others. I can mention a whole list of names. Excuse me.
Sorry about that.
Now, even the attack on Flagstaff House, you know that the coup was resisted by the presidential guard over a long period of time.
Yeah.
The attack on Flagstaff House, Kotoka and his people killed others. Others who were in the presidential guard were not spared because they were others. They were killed. You understand? The coup d'etat, the ministers who were arrested and dumped into prison without charge and without trial included others. They included Reverend Boka, who was an Ever. You understand? They included Reverend Boka, who was an Ever. So how does this become an Ever versus who? How does this issue become Ever versus others? It doesn't make sense. It's pedestrian. It's unbelievable. And this is the leadership of the minority in Parliament. Everything must be reduced to one tribe against the other. Can you believe it? I am completely disgusted by the level of debate. I am ashamed by the level of debate. Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana, in 2026, we are going to take an important national decision. Whether you are for it or against it, come with sensible arguments and stop playing this tribal card. Because both of them are playing tribal cards. So if you're against the renaming, then you're against the gas. If you're for the renaming, then you're against the others. What level of
let me interrupt because I don't like. My gut feeling tells me that Uncle C Price is about to explode.
Ebusia ye free nsem we so na ye kwakopie mu e wo Nigeria man no emu. Now ensem bebre e na e koso a sebe udi akire a wo behu say one thing that has been disturbing Nigerians the more terrorist attack. one of the things that kosono and chese ye ka ho asem they has just gotten to do with the renaming of the airport near there koso Ghana hanum say now in some way there ababe debatable. You can share your views and your thoughts on it as to whether you are in it or you are out of it. It's the best decision to rename or not to rename. Now in some mebre no and koso in and outside the globe and in and outside Ghana. Moving on to Nigeria no and Sembia koso Nigeria na has got to do with terrorism near there and Delbeti Boko Haram na ye chi asofo ni ye kidnapping ni ye kumo mo any ade US President Donald Trump and asabre they were taking swift measures menewo say there entia ebane HSM military a free US troop akwako piemu ewo Nigeria mine emu a enyasem ketwa. And this has got to do with the fact that Trump has always spoken about a terrorist attack in Africa, and Nigeria happens to be one of the African countries ban terrorism and Boko Haram, and Christians are not having the freedom necessary. Wase omu enya obeti ane say ekuo bi ewa sorry dem a omusom nyame pew na chese yato akwakoshe omuso ene ade obeti ane say yakoche sofo bi yemia ne kon yaye ni say and you realize that the attack is growing day by day. And no ena mene wo saying Reuters, one of can say the writing sites what Ghana hanum say womode omunsembi ababeto emonten so efa kwanya President Donald Trump efa so did some military force ekopiemu ewo Nigeria. And we shall say US military says some forces have been dispatched to Nigeria. International say US military no amwakasa no ma be declare say womo edi womo troops ni bi akwako piemu ewo Nigeria mine emu. Now I'm sure a lot of people will be asking the questions about DMPANA US military ekwakoye ewo Nigeria. Now if you take a thorough reading into Ensemwa Reuters for Edebeto Mountain, so I will say the US has sent a small team of troops to Nigeria. The general in charge of the US Command for Africa said on Tuesday the first acknowledgement of US forces on the ground since Washington struck by air on Christmas Day. Into Wamuchema, the general wada the US military commander no edema Africa no and Edebeto just say US forces sabre there womo akwa hit ground womo elko Nigeria. I mean they are in Nigeria, a troop be small team kakra akwako piemu ewo Nigeria. Also President Donald Trump ordered airstrikes on what he described as Islamic State targets in Nigeria in December and said there could be more US military actions there. Into Ochema, somewhere in December no, and President Donald Trump ebetu just say oko Nigeria mine mu a ye nuanu Muslimi fo na ewo honom no womu die Christopher na ewo ho na ni papa enti ehu behia say US asrafo ebekọ akopie mu ewo Nigeria na saade we omatimi abrenase. Say Reuters earlier reported that the US had been conducting surveillance flights over the country from Ghana since at least late November. And no and what you say every November busome na wie ni mo baby ena US for SHA say womo conduct surveillance omo de mani to for momo omo de omo akasa bi be kasa kra omo use drones ni ade planes ni ade efefemu ewo ewie mu through Ghana omo wo Ghana na omo yes ade no just to know how things are going. What you say Nigeria mine mo even before say omo be strike omo strike. Also the top general said the US team was sent after both countries agreed that more needed to be done to combat the terrorist threat in West Africa. Enti general wada US troop na no ewo West Africa no ebetire mu say o ma hwa ehunu say terrorism ade a ha dwene ewo ebibiman Africa hanum say ya wo mo nso aye krado say on pese wo mo ye o ma famu die bia wo mo betimi say de be ya o mo ebetimi esi ano kwan ewo Africa. O say that has led to increased collaboration between our nations to include a small US team that brings some unique capabilities from the United States. General Dagvin R.M. Anderson, head of the U.S. military's African Command, AFRICOM, told journalists during a press briefing on Tuesday into a chema say because of that US for army any a year other nations to say Ghana ni ade and omo aka omo ho abom say de be ya wo mo ebetimi abre sa terrorist attack na ase ewo Africa. Or say Anderson did not provide further details about the size and scope of their mission. Into a chema Yera Anderson asemne de waka nanso wando musuko amomo hu se o ade ne ye be ya kosi sei ana ye ko man ABC di so ye fi Nigeria be ko ha na wan kire mu sa internet so timu se adwuma no aye coded bi sa no ena omo eye no. So Defense Minister Christopher Musa confirmed that a team was working in Nigeria but did not provide further details. Into sabre the Nigeria ena womo troop no ewo sese ya womo bom homoden pa se eyesa ISIS fo ni akaida ni ade nyina no yebetimi etu omase ewo Nigeria oman no emu. A former US official said the US team appeared to be heavily involved in intelligence gathering and enabling Nigerian forces to strike terrorist affiliated group into omutrema US trooper sabre omo Nigeria no omo de omani atofoma omo ye omo nhwehwemu ni ade a eno abo omo ho kwan omo befa so a omo edisa amambo fokuei ene terrorist foi omo ede omo ebefa so ewo Nigeria mind emo. So Nigeria has come under intense pressure by Washington to act after President Trump accused the West African nation of failing to protect Christians from Islamist militants operating in the northwest. Into a chema Nigeria there a free bra Mampeni Trump ekasa ye edefa ekwan bonia yenuanu muslimi fo ede Christopher wo ho ne efa so no se emutu ebojaden ye bomutu jaden den se omobetimi esisa ade no anokwan ewo Nigeria. So the Nigerian government denies any systematic persecution of Christians, saying it is targeting Islamist fighters and other armed groups like that attack both Christian and Muslim civilians. Into muchema Nigeria fa be kase an obi an tete Christopher ho na emom enkofo bi ho no ma omo tete Islamic fo no ni Christopher no mo san kofo no ma target so o me hye o ma sene ade o se Boko Haram and Islamic State West Africa province fighters have intensified attacks on military convoys and civilians, and the northwest remains the epicenter of the 17 years Islamist insurgency. International muchema Boko Haram no eni ekuo bia omunso etutrasem wo mu hu ebo mu bie no wo mo egusu a wo mo attack military convoys ne sebetimemufo binuma ewo ho no wo mo attack wo mo sabre de wo mo hwe so wo mo bebre enu nso ase ewo ho. Also the US military's Africa Command said the strike was carried out in Sokoto State in coordination with Nigerian authority and killed multiple ISIS militants. Into muchema womokoye no ba bia omadikan akoye ho adwuma Sokoto State na ho na womatimi ekum ISIS foni mu bi kakra womuguso omadwuma. So the strike came after Trump in late October began warning the Christianity faces as existential threat in Nigeria and threatened to militarily intervene in the West African country over what he says it is a failure to stop violence targeting Christian communities. Enti na chese Donald Trump eni abre se ye etutrasem attacks ni nyama hodua ekoso ewo Nigeria man no wo mo ebetimi ama eto aba ewieye. This is a good move ebi mani age ho pa say at least Christians in Nigeria no will be safe. On kwatena sorry dem mo ema obi enkoto nhye ne so. On kwatena sorry dem mo ema yembeku no sofo bi nko number bi ne yenche no enkidnap no afi ebe wiase ne yese sofo no yekum no aba beto atwene we nyina eto ebeba ewieye. Ebusia yebekoso e disansem we echi na ye de ho amane mo abremu. Now ensem ba ko a sebe Edin Trehan ewo Ghana ha manfo bebre eni tue mu, they are so much interested in LGBTQ++ and sensem way ewo Ghana krodwe emu. Now yeka LGBT pe na say amanfo bebre ayo madwen say pa NDC aban ayo madwen say LGBT no enya de omo beka ho asem bio because 2024 womo eye campaign eno kra na wo campaign message ni mu titire no omo ka ho asem ena ekufu ado ne na ban pese omo be sign omo de omo ba pena sharp omo ba ye afe ba akwa betwem ye hu hwe omo ano omo project ade ni pia Sam George muni ade nyina say ye nto omo nka yente hwe biem ena chese asem ni sinsen hwem na eno ena eye majority chief whip eye ra da fie makpo ababe kasa e de afa wa wochemu se enne ya oni e kasa mampani eye his excellency John Dramani Mahama wa ye krado so ordinansa ebetintim krata so akọ assign LGBT bill bia wo mo edebebanye se bia wo twentwen ne na say wo bill ne ho ana say bibi da no, that is not the case. The president is ever ready to sign the LGBTQ++ bill enya sem ketwa into which screens so say Mahama's pen is ready, ink is dripping to assent LGBTQ bill. Majority chief whip yera da fem yakpo ena chese what this and same way ebetu just mampeni mampeni John Dramani Mahama wa ye ready say wo be sign LGBTQ so mo de betu na enimu nko dia bill ni ye ready parliament etna so wo mo edidi ho nkomo ene ade a why won't he sign? Why you ready? Wo be sign ama sebe kukurubaja ene say watchina say any ade a ekoso wo man Ghana mu no ni nyina eto den ebetwa ente say parliament and wo mo show mo animu kwan say wo betimi aye wo nyuma yie no wo ma tabiri nkrata no e de akwakoto mampani anim say wonye den wo mo ne homodene na on sign nkrata no so munye ho adwuma wo de koto na animu nko ade a there is no head shaking in signing the LGBT and said that he anticipate amount for binu mo chese ena na no emema bi ko gina the Black Star Act na say ekwo kisi na no say lesbians bi abe ware ni ade we nyina chese mampani ena shekutupa say nkofo nkoso nye LGBT wo krom hanom say no Yera Nelson da fie makpo aha ochemu se debida enyesa enete but then he's ready. The president is ever ready to sign mampani ankasa so waka ho asem da anu ochemu so mo ba ye na bill no I expire ni ade are outdated, they need to fit in new things near there. Say no, the can say parliament, whatever they need to fit, and they should fit it fast. No mampeni signing here say nobody is denying anybody from signing the LGBTQ plus bill. Na sumje emra kromu hanum say. Na say the bill and I said this issue among for the year propaganda will come hanging eto encha now ye frisa LGBT in same way eswa na Dr. Mahama Dubawumia over the weekend ye who say Warini the presidential primaries on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party NPP Amanyukono na just as part of the formalities near the no the minority in parliament led by Yera Afenyo Markins womo ekopie mu ewo eye Dr. Mahama Bawumia akache a womo ekoma ne tiri nkwa se watimi edi enkunim na ho na wode ensem bitu dwa wo hye eye minority no NNPP amanyokuo ne bose kwan bia so no womo ebe obedi animu ama 2028 aba womo ekwa akoto no wobetimi apre nkunimdie edi ama MPP amanyokuo no de see 2024 no obesi never again we dey nye again no never again Enyadia ebesida NPP will be emerging victorious in 2028 eye aba womo ebekwa akoto no emu na omukoshia ye na chese otimu say aye very interesting jubilating atmosphere enipa bebrena na eni aje that Dr. Mahama Bawumia edi nkunim na ne bosha nso a wo share no na ye ko akotie se de ode ne nsem no etudwaye ba yebeto aso.
I want to assure everybody that, as I say, my mind is very open. My heart is open. My arms are open. I believe that the key is to win. Whoever can help this party win, I'm going to work with you. I'm going to work with you to deliver victory for the party, because the responsibility that has been placed on my shoulders is for the party. It's not a personal matter. I'm performing a role for the party, not for myself. So I cannot allow personal feelings to get into it. Whoever can help this party come to power, we are going to assist you. If so if it is, something that you've said against me personally, that is not my issue. I will help you win. If you are the person who can win that seat for us, you will be supported fully by me to win that seat for us. I will not make any decisions based on personal issues. No. That will not happen. I want us to win. And I'm going to tell you that my whole focus going from now to 2028 is to win 2028. I believe we are going to win 2028. I believe we are going to win 2028.
That is a presidential, and as a presidential candidate, Edema, the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Alhaj Mahama Bawumia, and you could see a sweet sermon now, one concerning a victory emergence in the just ended elections, and as a NPP presidential primaries election. And I watch you say at this point there, what that will be bia or company man no, will be biara or jinemu man no, anybody that supported him through thick and thin, Emma ene yehu de yehui as he emerging victorious in the elections no, what that will be biase. But then one promise, we will say one promise I make to you, Bosheba kwa washa omonene say he is ready to work and kasa said the beya NPP amanyoko no ebedi nkunim in 2028 abaye bekwakot, because we know that President John Dramani Mahama is not coming back. Mahama is not coming back, and so whoever is going to face Bawumia no afin yeba be a whole new competition. Senke about Bawumia to Mahama again. Most of us would have said that we know how the thing is going to end, but to say there is Bawumia to a new whole candidate, and if it is Bawumia to a whole new candidate there, na chese say agrono kwa kodru he, how is it going to be? But Bawumia sure say he's ready to work anyway, anyhow, through any dimension possible no washebo. And they say MPP for hold Bawumia to his words ane that onwa na obeka kire we de team eternity for besi boshe na o hye no ye pese ebe mu 2028, because like you said, you will do whatever it takes to win the elections for the New Patriotic Party na umumra ben, because MPP lose 2028 elections now, and the possibility say they will be in opposition for close to 12 years no very high, because onipa no so timi wini na the first time ne kon kan and you obeko second term. Of second term, not just say NPP. It's now opposition for 12 years. And so Bawumia says he's ready to work as fast as he can. Now, the issue for of a year renaming of Kotokano, Kamia says no, that is the issue at hand. Everybody is talking about it, and we've gotten some prominent people Ghana Haseya with regards to this whole renaming thing. One person now no de wabe kasa with so much aggressiveness and enibre gomoa central Kwame A+ ababe kasa, and all that A+ is saying about the renaming of the Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport, and say necessary because onipa na needing that so nankasa no or a red flag. Nipa na needing that so aye Kotoka no. Mo de mu nim de waye according to A+ no. Kotoka has a very bad history in Ghana. Ni wo mu kran nke wo se ye twena so. Enti on de ofo aso se edin no wo mu enyi emfemfiri wo. Yenko tie Kwame A+ ne nsema wo de etu dwa ye ba ye beto aso.
It is disgraceful, and I'm excited that His Excellency the President has changed the name from Kotoka to reflect the person who actually built the airport. Okay. Even though it's not Kwame Nkrumah International Airport, okay, it is back to Accra International Airport, and I think it's the best thing.
Thank you, sir.
Kotoka must be, apart from the name change, Kotoka must be prosecuted even in his death.
Why? Why do you say that?
Kotoka is the main reason why we are where we are today. He has to be treated as an enemy of this state. Anybody who overthrew Kwame Nkrumah destroyed the destiny of a whole country, changed everything that we had planned as a country, the industrialization, the vision that Nkrumah had. These guys allowed themselves to be used to destroy the destiny of even people who were not born. Everybody who is suffering today is because of what Kotoka did. And so we have to treat him as an enemy. And I'm excited that this decision has been made.
Yes, sir. I call back. Today, what do you expect from you?
I expect you to give me money. Tina.
No, but.
Any special message for your constituents?
Before never, the message you want to me.
What do you think about it?
Are you scared of being roasted?
No.
I'm saying Kwame A+ and you could see Ninsema what they etu jo. Chemuse Kotoka de, he's an enemy to Ghana. Sebe ye penipa ye betimidi ni din ato airport swa enye Kotoka onipa wedi you say debi. Nti ono de o peneso say yensesa edino emfri eye Kotoka enko anything else but Kotoka de, it is a no for him. Now enumuno we've got other people like Stone Boy and Afe and so John Dumelo ono so Mrashe Bejani de Emma Ayawa so West ono so abekasa de afa this whole change of name ni ade according to Stone Boy there was one dey said the mube pia ship na kobia no we die che ne de beboa Ghana ono nso neni ewo mu John Dumelo nso sa pepepe ono nso editu dwa yenkoti wo nsema wo editu montin so.
Have you heard about the name change of the airports? I mean, somebody who doesn't only reflect in the music industry, but when it comes to national issues or things that affects us as Ghanaians, you really show interest in. Are you for the Accra International Airport or you are for Kotoka International Airport?
It used to be called Accra International Airport anyway. That's why when you're going to fly, you see the ACC. You know, so that has been before. So when the name goes back to Accra International Airport, for whatever reason, I would believe that the reasons are clear, the reasons are politically accurate, the reasons are very nationalistic. I would believe so. But should this change and it doesn't reflect any upliftment, then I think I wouldn't side for that. But if it's going to reflect upliftment and uplift a positive narrative about this nation, I'm for that. Yes. Kotoka, actually, we all know, Kotoka is actually from my hometown. Right? I'm from Alakple. Anybody who knows the right history knows that General Kotoka comes from Alakble, my actual hometown. And the history will tell us how he participated in the coup d'etat that would have dethroned, Kwame Nkrumah. So that is the narrative that has been tagged around him for the name change of the airport. So there's a school of thought that insists that he does not represent a good statue for the state. I think that is the reason. I do not want to dig into it too much because I don't believe that one human being can be so evil all his life. There must be some good aspects. So for the fact that he got to be named after the airport, maybe because of his good parts. You know what I'm saying? So if he has to be changed, then let it be changed for another good reason.
The airport. So once the airport and it's functioning, whatever name it is, I'm okay with it. Personally, I'm okay with whatever name it is. So you there for the airport? Yeah, there for the airport. Once it's a functional airport. You there for it?
He agrees with government position. If I would be clear, he agrees with government position that the airport should be renamed. That should tell you that this is not a subject matter that one can easily play political football with.
Ebusianfo na chese nsemo John Dumelo ene Stone Boy de Atom Mountain so efa this whole renaming of Kotoka International Airport no and I could see na chese omuchema according to Stone Boy ne de aye no na de aye na aye no because of Kua Kotoka involving who in there editoroni Kwame Nkrumah until people seem not to like him any idea. As for John Dumelo they also the ebeko bia no wojinemu now we remember say Afenyo Markins our majority leader kasaye about this naming asem kofa votarians before for him na response be dia breno no yechemu se panin yesa a whole lawmaker a whole policy maker Adenti and our best started tribalism at this point. Simple nanka igbefo adwin po ni ho a anase yenuanum votarians adwin ni ho a se se wakotwe oma dwen aba be hye hono ma enu nso betimi aye a whole lot of issues. After all obaka ni akwaba yanka nwie se se ye ba be ye Accra ni Kotoka nso enu so aye another battle. Yenkotie ensem we enra.
He agrees with government position. If I would be clear, he agrees with government position that the airport should be renamed. That should tell you that this is not a subject matter that one can easily play political football with. It's not a subject matter that you can easily play tribal football with. I heard the Honorable Alexander Afenyo Markin, and the only argument he had been able to advance against the renaming of the airport to Accra International Airport is the fact that Kotoka is one of the few persons of a heritage whose names are on important monuments. I mean, we are building a nation every day. For those of us who seek to serve in public life, those of us who are involved in public life, what we should see as the ultimate goal of our involvement is one, achieving nationhood, and two, development that serves the general public good. If we are going to achieve nationhood, I am not saying that tribal identities should be abandoned, but I am saying that we must be able to forge a Ghanaian identity that superintends any tribal or ethnic identity. And if we are pursuing a Ghanaian identity that superintends any tribal or ethnic identity, then we must be willing to put aside tribal sentiments, the likes of which would say that even if traitors of our march forward, the moment they are from our tribe, then we must protect them. How about the overall nationhood, which is supposed to be the object of all of us, our participation in public life? I am a person of a heritage. I am an Anglo man true and true as Kotoka. I do not think that overthrowing a government is acceptable. And I do not think that the mere fact that he is of a heritage, I must, advance a certain argument that his name should remain on our entry and exit point, our national monument, our airport. I do not think that it is a solid enough argument to advance. Are we saying that if people should attempt or if people should succeed in the overthrow of our current dispensation, the question whether or not their conduct is proper, so much as to reward them by putting their names on important national monuments should be a subject matter of which tribe they are coming from? Is that what we are saying? That if people overthrow the constitution of this republic, the question whether or not they should be honored or dishonored should be a function of which tribe they are coming from and which tribe dominates the government of the day? Because the Honorable Minority Leader's argument was that the cabinet of President John Dramani Mahama has the likes of Kwame Agboja, the likes of the Honorable Kujeto Ablakwa and others on it. And for that matter, they must oppose the renaming of the airport by reason only of the fact that Kotoka is an Ewe person. I mean, why are we doing this to this country? Why do we want to do this to this country? The argument should be whether or not Kotoka merits the honor. It should not be about where he comes from or where he does not come from. I think that we must, as a people, reject that conversation. I have on several occasions criticized the Honorable Minority Leader as being a dangerous voice when it comes to certain narratives he openly pushes on the floor of Parliament, outside of Parliament, and in the media. And this has come to add to one of those narratives. Some of the narratives he advances, including politicians taking any chunk of our national resources, including lands, as they please. And the only question becomes whether or not there is a valid contract to that effect. If you try to query if it is ethical for them to get it for 45,000, he says, no, you can't talk about that. It's the same thing he is doing now. We are querying whether Kotoka merits the honor. We are querying whether within the confines of the 1992 constitution, a constitution that is adverse to coups. If you read MPP and Attorney General, the 31st December case, if you look at the dictum of Francois JSC, these issues, or at least related matters, came before the court, including the celebration of 31st December, a day where a government was overthrown. And the court was of the view that our constitution must be interpreted by its letter and its spirit. A constitution whose spirit is so averse to coup d'etat, so much as to encourage people to take up arms and defend the constitution against those who would overthrow it. I do not think that the constitution perceives the celebration of coup d'etats, no matter how far back they were. Because if you look at the 31st December case, it was an attempt to celebrate, I think, 81. Yes, it's 1981.
The coup against Dr. Liman.
It was an attempt to celebrate 81. If this constitution will not allow that, then I do not think that this constitution would also support honoring persons who participated the coup of 1966 by putting their names on important national monuments. I do not think that the spirit of this constitution supports that. Okay. And so if that is resisted, the conversation should not be reduced to tribal sentiments. I do not think that ever people supports the idea of putting the names of any and every person. If you go to any of our traditional societies in Ghana before the coming into force of what do you call it, our modern republican government, all of these traditional societies you would find have individuals that they think are representative of dishonor. You know Kwame Tua. Am I getting the name right? Yeah. You cannot convince an Asante person that monument should be named after him by reason only of the fact that he's Asante. To them, that name represents dishonor. So an attempt to convince the people that the Kotoka's name being on an airport is an honor than them, and an attempt to remove it should be resisted by them by reason only of the fact of Kotoka being Ewe. I don't think that.
What about the other side of the
are that sentimental so as to abandon reason? I don't think so.
What about the other side of the conversation? And I've seen people say, okay, you want to do away with a coup plotter, you want to do away with someone who doesn't merit it. They argue that all over the world
yedi wie ensem ne dia na ye boawura eye dadilumba ensensem a sabre de yaka ho asem abe ya abosome kakra ni ye ko back and forth ni ade eno ada ye hu se eye team legal wives for ebe ye press conference na wo mo ekire mu a sese no mani abre a wo mo seek for justice de amama mi akosia sewa into they are entreating the president ahemfo ni ade so wo mo mbre mu ebie na numu ena Prophecied ebe ya announcement say wo mo ayie no ebe ba so me kire funeral 2.0 eba so 28th and 29th respectively in the month of March. Na yenim senka so hwa so sana ushe screens ni so there is more to come. Event no it is unfolding until March. Inti everyday bia ye be bibi, everyday bia ye be bibi. In the course of that ne Prophecied chemu a wo mo ebe ye 3 days crusade e de amama mi akosia se wa ahead of funeral 2.0 aye ba be ye e de ama eye dadilumba e de asemwa crusade ebusuafo etine se mo amomfa mo ho ma Jesus no munyina mo mbom ho fam ho nkoma Yesu because according to evangelist Prophecied ne de 3 days crusade no ye de boaboa ye ho cause eye na semsem kofo ba be toto ayi ye friend saying eniema emfatani adente wo se ye di Yesu moja Yesu chese Holy Ghost fire bibie bi ye de surround mami akosia se wa na ye born ho ban because se odobroni de no ye use police fo ne ye de born ho banya ye de minka ho omo de yi Yesu moja ne kan say Holy Ghost fire and omo de be ye protection de amama mami akosia se wa because it is not a play. Funeral 2.0 no ahwan no be kese a chen the funerals 2.1 first edition na e was happening to park LED ye no it according to Prophecied no small a year or say Prophecied a close associate of the late high life legend Daddy Lumba has announced a 3-day Christian crusade dedicated to the singer's first wife Akosia Sewa just weeks after unveiling plans for what he describes as second funeral ceremony in the musician's honor. Inti yena yenye kradom crusade ne dru ho a yenyina yenko team legal wise for ene beye kwa afo ne ade omba ko piepie mu yenko te da Prophecied said the otu nenum tuo ka sansem we ni announcement e fa ho nyina na mo amopese mu ko crusade ni bi no matimi akọ sei na Prophecied ede ne nsem ne tudwa
na yewia ye be crusade kese e was circle Dubai ye crusade kese 3 days Thursday Friday Saturday 19th 20th and 21st the legal wife enyina na piece of agirifo nyina ye bompa ye moden e was circle e de mama me akosia se wa afosu enti mo modin se mu nyina mo beba na ya bompa ye e de ama no dem se Awurade beja ni do edi Awurade be hye ni de ni monyam obejin krofo obesan yare obetu ambone obeset the captive free say the bia ye kwa Awurade ye no mama akosia se wa yanu no ene esom mami akosi asewa or the lost the one narrow gate where my sister penny here but the radio the matter sorry and to am sorry ba nti yanu no esom your prayer last one of dia anwumre bia ye bompa ye dada ena ayi asaba ye nti ye be crusade e was circle Dubai ye bompa ye de mpa bo ena e hye bibia ase ti mesra mo momode na 19th 20th and 23rd February ye nyina ye ngohia na ye mompa ye enta ye nuaba ye maame ya de nyina maame akoso asewa fosu echi nyankopon hia be blessed me patriotie tie manu tie botaye techi no tie ye fa ya asem e wo John chapter number 12 John 12 verse 28 was a just uba animonyam na uba be she animonyam Father glorify thy son may glorify you and yes alpha your scripture bako if Exodus 33 verse number 18 was a jamami hu animonyam na me she animonyam Awurade mami hu animonyam enti ma me se we se Awurade ema no hu animonyam na ye agidifo na May the Lord God Almighty bless you all. Shalom and peace.
Yeah, and chese 19th, 20th, 21st of February. Ebe kikim. Enya sem ketwa ye ko bompa ye denjeje pa. E dia protect mami akosu asewa because yanye ne se nye ye. E no kire se de enti anase buta ye tai eye crusade ni chi ne se Nyankopon be sha akosu asewa ni monyam because already no wo mu chema wo mu e kwa kosiki appeal e wo case e course so akosu asewa edi ntwo wo ho no wo mu kwa appeal e na ye yo 2.0 no nso wo ho nti ehu be hia pa se wo mu ebeye sa revival nya me be sa yare ebubuafo be nante nifrafo be hu ade che se enya sem kitwa o you boy are playing with Prophecied fe na ni bre abre no wo maye ni na yenko crusade ni bi me say me ginem me start that because we have to pray. You don't pray and sing. And Prophecied HMA omo ye crusade e dia mami akosua se wa what team legal wives and husbands cannot do does not exist. Na che say and some way nyina ekoso no ya numfo bia na se Ghana fo bi no so che said all this is noise making. Hwe momfa sa niema na mo ye no Prophecied particularly onko pe ba bi ntina because they all ye no or wasting Ghana for your time. There are more pressing and important things I was a Ghana for etimi share no more a daily with yenkuti is the same way ye ba ye beto aso
Prophecied. I'm going to say something who do a Ghana, how goes out the work, goes out the work. Corona Yam with the Ghana Yam Kwamo, the Hawaii. And I knew Lumba and Kwanso now. Some won't see someone else. Namu behind the pass, I won't free media and so man from my fire. I said, Ade Monkwama Bushano, we are one in no move. Oh, 3 years, Okobo, we are Bushate, the Papa. And then we are Musari, and I go get a one and Lumba. I go like it. No, why was just about 2016? Anyone want to see what we should have. That I'm not Lumba away. I know the Nigga into a picture. On the other new up and down, we're going to show you on the end, you man on any area. I don't know where the Papa on the porter. And then the movie will be asked. And if we are money, I don't know what and the wood and 2 baby as one mobra. Lumba Japadi and 2 Niamoto. And I have be a lumba. See, I never know open. And I won't open now because that's one. I was a one gata. I want to go on, Ginny. Mamma, why I allow it to make a salmon and one more. I didn't know one gata in the Yiri. One more got no more settled on myself. Now, I don't know one pump in the Ginamusa. And I want someone among my baby. Whatever you was always easy to beat. At the animal. I got a Hawaii, what a moment. I already woke from house any Hawaii. When you will be Pinji will be Kaluma, no one transimo. On Papa Bayaman and Papa, no Hakala, 24 hours. And then we have a book. I can't know the way. Where my Baba, or Baba, here 20. Me Papa, the open Papa, you Kumasi, I go Kumasi, where you Monteti, a family, and I'm already passing. Nama Konama Banamodia, Nama Konamodia, Eddie and Moji. Open the pass, Modi Lumana, no Baba and Namana, no another Namo. And MVP, no, then who can't get Nesoban for some months who are yes, come over. That many more about no Kitaska. I come by Sunday near my luggage. Actually, I'm more handy pass. I'm more Ghana for Yenimonoka Moteti.
Abusian for nature say Ghana how the papa be any how will be best struggle with somebody's husband. You understand? It's any Prophecied. One pe baby ntina na eye tweka koka na e kwaso okrom hanum say no ni nyina anomra say enough is enough. You say ensuo eta ponkyerani a wogewo e de asem nko e na enne say e kina say enne say wo kina say enti enne yemfa ni nyina ensi na che say Prophecied ni team legal wives and husbands. This is the end of the game for you guys. Asem no I am very sad but ye be fa ne sa e busian for yenda obi bia say say munya bre e de ehwe yen aha Pinaxtv.